Hi, I'm Adrienne Pasquarelli, Special Projects Editor and Senior Reporter at Ad Age, and welcome to another edition of the Marketer's Brief Podcast, our weekly discussion about marketing news and trends that have the industry buzzing. At a time when many brands are backtracking on diversity and inclusion, Savage X Fenty, the lingerie brand from Rihanna, is doubling down on its promises. In fact, keeping inclusion as a marketing focus is helping the brand differentiate itself from the competition. Today we'll be talking with Vanessa Wallace, who joined Savage X Fenty as Chief Marketing Officer last year. She'll discuss the recent marketing the brand has done and what's ahead. Now, here's my conversation with Vanessa. Hi, Vanessa. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, glad to be here.
So you joined Savage X Fenty just about a year ago. Can you talk about your first year at the brand, some of the lessons you've learned, what you've prioritized, how you manage your to-do list, all that good stuff?
Wow. Yes, it's been quite the year. I'm just shy of a year right now, but now is the greatest time of ever to do some reflection. I think to your point, what has been the biggest excitement of this year is truly understanding this business and this brand. It has a long legacy, obviously, with Rihanna as the founder and our what we call Chief Visionary Officer, and how it was born after being a brand that is around bold inclusivity. It's given me a purpose, and I love working for purpose-driven brands because I think there is a way that we can come to life and connect our values to consumers. The second thing that I think I've been working on is getting to know my team. I get the incredible opportunity to lead an amazing group of creative individuals who are just as passionate about the work and the people. And so serving our members and our VIPs every single day. Then last but not least, I would say the last bit is like I've spent a lot of my time, obviously, at Nike previously, understanding sport and culture and the footwear industry and apparel. And I've gotten to understand the lingerie business, which has been pretty exciting in a new niche market, and how we can understand what women and men think about as they think about choosing their intimates, and how we can be a part of their everyday conversation, not just from an intimate space, but being a brand that truly believes in being a movement and connecting to individuals. So it's been a fun, fast, furious first year, but excited about the year ahead.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Nike, and when you think about sportswear, you think about and footwear with innovation, but there's also innovation in the lingerie space as well. And it's also such a hot category with so many brands with new and different types of products. What's been a key differentiator for Savage X Fenty as you deal with some of those competitors in that space?
Yeah, really great question. And back to the point of learning this business, the lingerie business, I think it's about a $16 billion business. And so as you think about carving out space, there are very different ways and varying ways that I would say consumers purchase their intimates. And so one of the things that we've been focused on is not necessarily just about fashion moments, or we have some amazing products that do that. And so when you want to have that special something when you're getting dressed up, we have product that does that from a fashion standpoint. But then there is also your everyday. And as you get dressed in the morning and you put on your boxers, or you putting on your bra and underwear, there's also a way that we can be a part of their everyday lives. And so when we talk about new technologies, in the last year, we've launched one called Soft and Savage. And so there was a lot of technology brought in about how we can bring sensual ease and everyday comfort. And the technology in the bra, it feels like marshmallow foams. And so it's incredibly comfortable. And so I think we're revolutionary and always thinking about our consumers and how we can provide them with both form, function, and fashion, and make them bold and sexy while they're doing it.
And is there a lot of back and forth with feedback and customers saying, like, I want my bra to feel more like a cloud, that kind of thing? Is there a lot of give and take from when you get to the ideation for product?
Absolutely. Our merchants and our lead designers, what's really great about our brand is that we have VIPs. And so we get the opportunity, and our data and analytics teams do a great job of this, of speaking with them pretty regularly when we're bringing new kind of products to market, when we're launching new campaigns, getting that feedback. And what's so great about this brand is we have men and women who will talk to us. They're in their bathrooms, they're in their homes, in their bra and undies, and they're feeling like we're a part of their family. And so I love the connectivity and the passion our consumers feel of us. And so it leads us to not only get nuggets from them to kind of inform, to your point, product creation, but it's a way that we continue to have that virtuous cycle to make sure as we're putting content out, as we're developing new products, and as we're thinking about new fabrication, new styles, silhouettes, et cetera, that we're getting us it from our consumers on what fit, feel, textures, what they want to see more of, what they hate. And so it's informing us so we can be a better retailer.
Now, I know Savage X Fenty has made diversity and inclusion a real cornerstone of the brand, and that's particularly at a time when many marketers are pulling back. Can you talk a bit about why this is important to you and to the brand?
Yeah, I think it starts obviously, like I mentioned previously, with Rihanna, as she was the founder of this brand. And in 2018, it was a disruptor. And that was our unique proposition, is that we believed the importance of our brand, not just being a brand, but a movement that really celebrated that bold inclusivity, individuality, and confidence. And so as we think about that, has always been a core of our DNA. It's how we design our product. It's how we think about our cast when we're thinking about campaigns. It's us listening, as we just talked about, to our consumers. And so everybody, every shade, every story, we want to be that platform that celebrates that. You made mention of something that is very true around right now. We have talked about unprecedented times and uncertain times, and many of my peers in leadership, they're facing those difficult decisions, and whether it's by their board of directors or financial pressures of not being able to lead with their values and purpose in the way in which they usually did or did in the past. I think for us, what I'm really proud of, it's such a staple of who we are that it remains a part of our DNA of like empowering people to feel confident regardless of how they show up in this world. And we feel like we should celebrate those individuals. And so I think it's one of those things that, champion inclusivity isn't just something that we say, or it's just not the right thing to do. It's actually that catalyst that we leverage for innovation. It actually has helped us from innovating in new categories and or that long-term business growth. And so it is truly central to what we do and how we do it.
What are some of the recent marketing campaigns that you've done that have been tapping into that?
Yeah, really great question. I think a couple things come to mind. Last year for Valentine's Day, we often say Valentine's Day is our Super Bowl. Holiday is a really huge season for us, but as you can imagine, the first of the year, Valentine's Day is that season from a lingerie perspective. And so as we set out to do our last Valentine's Day campaign last January, there was a couple insights that we leveraged. One, Rihanna has affectionately been called the Cupid, and she is the patron saint of Valentine's. And so we cast her as Cupid, and she is our muse. We showed that Rihanna could show and celebrate all types of love, whether it's passionate love, self-love, romantic love. She was our Cupid. And then how we rounded out the rest of the cast is we thought about our consumers and who shops with us every single day and showing all different types of love. And so we had the LeBlanc sisters, who are some TikTok sensations. And so they represent familiar love. We had a gay couple, and they represent that love between two men. And then we also had a group of women who were best friends, and they're also curvier models in this industry. And so they talked about that friendship and love that you have there. And then last but not least, and a cultural phenomenon, everyone loves Love Island. And so we cast Serena and Cordell Stewart, and they showed the love between a man and a woman. And so we were able to just showcase love in any form. And so the campaign was called Love Your Way. And while it was super important for us to talk about this, is however you choose to spend that day or that weekend, Valentine's Day, we want to enable you to love your way. And we have the products to make you do that. But we also were very clear that at that point in time, last January and February, as we were thinking about what was happening in the geopolitical landscape, there were a lot of conversations around DEI and what that looks like in representation. And what we saw is that it was an opportunity for us to be even bolder and louder with our values And so our campaign was not only successful from a consumer standpoint and the feedback that we got from our social channels and obviously even some of the cast who are a part of it, but it also rang the registers. And so it was one that I think you can show that when you continue to drive with our values and being really smart and strategic about how you share those with the world, it also will prove beneficial to the bottom line as well.
That's great. That's really proof of that the concept it works with your consumers, that it's, resulting in sales and feedback like that. You mentioned Rihanna in that campaign. How involved is she with kind of the creative portions of the marketing and the product development as well?
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but she is the founder. We call her now the Chief Visionary Officer. And so our teams work with her pretty regularly. We have sketch reviews and design reviews and proto reviews where the design and merchandising teams are working with her on upcoming product lines, giving feedback, looking at fit models, providing information. And then also from our plans as it relates through campaigns and creative, she's involved throughout that process. Right now, we're actually working on some things right now with her. And so we're in the approval process, meeting process, where she's giving her feedback and creative direction. Oftentimes, in one of the other campaigns that we were pretty proud of over the last year is that we signed Glorilla to the first ever global ambassador across what we call the Fentyverse, which is Fenty beauty, skin, and hair, and then also Savage brand. And so she represented us for the springtime frame. And Rihanna was very much involved in that process, as well as being the creative director of that actual shoot. She and Flo had a moment last summer where Rihanna was seen on social and it kind of went a viral moment of singing one of her songs, TGIF. And from that, consumers were like, we have to have a glow, Rihanna kind of moment. And so Ree was gracious enough to obviously not only be a part of that, but she has so much respect for Glow as an artist. And so it was only natural for us to have that ambassadorship. But she also was the creative director, very involved on like how she wanted to see Glow in the campaign and see and introduce her in a new and different way. And so we're extremely lucky that an icon such as Rihanna, who actually drives culture, we were able to work with her in such a unique capacity to bring these amazing products and stories to life.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how much cross marketing is there with Fenty Beauty and some of the other brands under that Fenty umbrella and that Fenty universe?
Yes, and that Glorilla example is definitely one. We obviously work really closely with the Fenty Corp team. We have monthly check-ins with our counterparts just because as we think about coming to market, there's a lot of synergies, whether it is right now, currently, I think everyone has seen the Smurfs movie is coming out and Rihanna is Smurfette. And so that's another example where all three of the brands, beauty brands, in addition to Savage and Puma, will have experiences that are all connected. So it helps when we're really orchestrated in how we come to market.
Is everything done internally in-house, or do you guys ever work with external creative agencies or anything like that?
From a Savage X perspective, we've done both. I think we have, which is really great. We have worked with outside agencies as it relates to creative, but currently we have an in-house team who produces all of our content from social to PDP to our campaigns. And so it allows us to have that flexibility in moments in time to work with amazing creatives who bring interesting ideas. But then we also have consistency when we have our in-house creative team driving the work as well.
And what else is ahead for you guys this summer? I know you just mentioned the Smurf movie. Anything else that we can be on the lookout for?
Really exciting time. Right now, we're our heads down, planning for fall and fall fashion as we think about that coming up. We are working through what next holiday looks like for us, holiday 25, and thinking through even early examples and concepting around Valentine's Day 26. Currently, as we think about the summer months, summer travel is really important to us. And so we have products and stories that are out around summer travel. So those are a couple of things that are coming out of mind. So the team is really busy with heads down, thinking through the next 6 months.
And I know you were just in Cannes for the first time at the week-long events and all of the awards and all of that. What did you think? What were your impressions?
Yeah, really great question. Yes, Cannes Lions. I had been to Cannes before and been to Nice before, but never for this moment. And so it was truly transformative. I am super grateful for the opportunity to share space with so many creative and amazing, insightful, visionary leaders and of my peers across so many different, verticals when you think about marketing or media, fashion, tech, etc. And what was really great is just the quiet times, I think, to have, conversations with other peers around challenges they're seeing, how they're motivating their teams, industry trends, where we could connect, be authentic in those spaces. So it was such an amazing experience.
Were there any like trends or lessons that you plan to incorporate in your strategies moving forward? Anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what was super excited that I was able to, bring Savage X Fenty on a global stage. And so understanding how innovation, I think when we talk about tech, there was a lot of conversation about generative AI. There was also conversations around the creator economy and how individuals are leveraging communities and creators to kind of drive connectivities with their consumers, whether it's across fashion or sport or media. And so I think some of it was affirming some of the strategies we have. I think other things that we were thinking about is partnerships in new and different ways and how we can be disruptive. I definitely would say I left Cannes so energized about the work ahead, collective moments. I think it's a great place to kind of connect with individuals and build for the future. So I'm proud to be a part of it, but more than anything, thinking about how some of the relationships I was able to create and develop there will blossom in the future.
That's great. I know it can be an exhausting week, so I'm glad that it was really fruitful for you.
By Thursday, Friday, you definitely feel it, but it was an incredibly energizing experience.
Great. Well, we are out of time, but I look forward to seeing what comes out of that and what everything you guys have coming up.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. It's been a great opportunity to chat with you today.
That was Vanessa Wallace, Chief Marketing Officer of Savage X Fenty, and I'm Adrienne Pasquarelli, Special Projects Editor and Senior Reporter at Ad Age. I'd like to thank our producer, Lauren Ciardio, and invite you to subscribe to the Marketer's Brief podcast on your favorite player. We promise to keep it brief, or at least short enough for your morning coffee. Thanks for tuning in.
Marketer's Brief listeners get $40 off an adage.com subscription. Sharpen your marketing edge and visit adage.com/brief for your discount.